Hello friends, here we'll discuss the approaches to the change management. So in the previous slide, we have discussed what is the change management, right? And if any organization want to implement the changes, employee will oppose, right? And that's why there are different approaches, different model relating to the change management, right? The first model will discuss the Levin's change management model. Now see, Levin used the transition from solid to liquid. So solid to liquid to a block of ice to illustrate the concept of structural or the organizational change, right? So first you have to understand a very basic thing you have to remember. Once you know the Levins means you have to remember the ice block. Okay, there is one ice block which was solid, then it was converted into the liquid, and this is the basic concept behind the Levin's model. Okay, so that only one you have to understand. Levin's model is nothing but the solid to liquid transition of the ice block, right? Now see, this model consists of a three primary phases: unfreeze, change, and refreeze. See, any organization, if they want to implement, then that will be opposed by the employee working there, right? So how to handle that change? For that we are having the change management, and first model we are discussing the Levin's change management model, and this model is based on ice block, right? It ice block, it is solid state, then when it melt it will become a liquid, right? And then you can again make any shape from that liquid to the solid, right? And similarly, so what are the primary three pages? Unfreeze, change, and refreeze. So Levin's change management model we have to discuss. See, first is unfreeze. You are having solid ice block, you will unfreeze it, right? Then there will be the liquid form, then you can change, you can implement the change here, right? Again you can refreeze it to create the new shapes. Got it? So you have to understand first. See, unfreeze means what? You are changing the state, means what? Disintegration to the status quo means what? What is the condition of organization right now? You have to change it, right? Means what is the current status that you have to disintegrate, right? Next is change. Change means what? Introducing the change. So once it become a liquid, you can implement the change, right? Refreeze means you will now have to make new shape to the organization, means whatever the changes you want, once it become liquid you can implement easily, so sustaining to the new status quo, right? So this is what the basic three stages: ice unfreeze, then change, then again refreeze. This is the basic concept of the Levin's change management model. Okay, now see one by one what include in the unfreeze phase. See, this stage is the first in the process, obviously, right? The change need to create the need for the change, means what? Making the people realize that why there is a need of the change and how it offer the benefit, means what? The first step is unfreeze, right? What the match in the change management we have to do, we have to make the people working in the organization aware that why the change is required, right? Why the change is required and how it will offer the benefit to them, so that they will stop resisting. Next, determine what need to be changed, then investigate the history of organization and conduct in-depth analysis of it, right? So this is what the we have to do in the unfreeze state. Next is what? Ensure there is a strong support from the management and manage and understand the doubt and concern. Okay, so these are the steps we have to follow in the unfreeze. Unfreeze itself, it is a meaning we have to introduce the changes, or we have to disintegrate the current situation or the current position. We have to dismantle it, unfreeze it. See, this is the solid, you are unfreezing means it become liquid, so you are disintegrating the first stage, right? And what you have to do practically, we have to create what is the need for the change, let the people realize the need and the benefit of the changes, then we have to determine what we are going to change, what is the organization history, and the in-depth analysis we have to do about the organization. We need a strong support from the management, and we have to clear the doubt and concern of the employees in the organization, right? So this is the unfreeze state. Now change. So the true transformation or the change happen during this step of the process, and this at this point strong relationship is essential. Obviously, A successful completion of this phase rely heavily on the clear communication and precise scheduling. So change means what? See, it is the second step where you have to start implementing the changes. For example, once from ice you got the liquid. Now from that liquid you can pour that liquid into any form and you can again make the new structure, right? So change is the second step where we need a strong leadership. Here actually the change happens. Clear communication and precise scheduling to implement the changes is required. Now refreeze. Refreeze is the at this stage the people in the organization shown that they are willing to accept. Refreeze means what? You are having the liquid. Now you have pour that liquid into different shape and you can refreeze. That means you are having new structure. Similarly, refreeze means at this stage people in the organization shown that they are willing to accept the embrace and work to put into change into effect. Means at this refresh state people will accept, yes, we are ready to accept whatever the changes are there, the change will into the effective. Now as a result a firm or the organization starts returning to its previous states, right? Because of this the stage is referred as a recycling stage, right? Previous state means what? Means where employee are working right properly, then the management has implemented the change. Now employee become disturbed. Now once the refresh means the re-implementation of the change, the employee now starts working as a previous stage. This is the recycling stage also. Okay, so there may be a question, what are the stages? Unfreeze, then change, then again refreeze, right? And refreeze is also called as the recycling stage. Okay, that you have to understand. Now next what we have to discuss model is the McKinsey's 7S model. Okay, McKinsey's 7S model. So what are the 7S? Structure, so you can see a structure, right? Then we are having system, structure, systems, style, staff, skill and strategy. These are the 7S, right? Including shared value. So this is the McKinsey's 7S model. Now see, this model is still relevant. It was developed by the consultant who were working for the McKinsey and Company in 1970. So this is too much old model, still it is relevant. It is having 7 stages which we have discussed in the image, right? Now see, the 7 stage of this model are. So what are the 7 stages? So you have to first you have to remember that stages, right? So because they can ask you which of the following is not a stage of the McKinsey's 7S model. Okay, so strategy, structure, system. So see, this is the first stage of the change. What is that? The strategy, and it involves the development of the step-by-step procedure of a future plan. Future plans means basically you are preparing the strategy for the change, right? Next is structure. So structure is the stage or the characteristics of this model that pertain to the division of organization or structure it follow, right? So first you have to prepare the strategy, then it is a structure means what is the current structure of organization, you have to divide it, right? Next, systems means this stage is related to the manner in which the day-to-day activity are carried out. So how your day-to-day activity of organization is being carried out, that supposed to be understand. Okay, that is the systems. Strategy means the future plan. Structure means you have to divide the structure of organization. System means you have to understand how the day-to-day activity are being carried out, and if we implement the changes, how that will going to affect, right? Next we have to discuss is the values that are shared. So shared value means what? These are the fundamental or the primary principle that organization bases its operation, right? Means how the value means the value on which its operation is based, decision on in order to function the effectively, right? So basically values that are shared, shared value means what? Basically shared value means the principles of organization, right? So some organization have very strong principle, they are not going to deviate from their principles, right? And also the decision which they are implementing, right? So values that are shared means simply the shared value are the fundamental or the primary principle that organization bases its operation and decision making in order to function its effectively, right? So we have to understand the shared value of an organization. Next is what? The style. The term style refer to the manner in which changes in the leadership and the organization structure are accepted or put into effect. So style means what? The manner. How it, what is my style? My style means my manner in which changes how the leadership or organization is being accepting. Okay, so in which style you are ready to accept the change. Basically, style means what? How you are ready to, willing to accept the changes. For example, if there is a upgradation of the system, okay, so providing the training to the employee, providing them the allowance for the training. So the style means the manner in which, the way in which the changes in the leadership or even organization structure are accepted. Next is what? The staff. The staff means what? It can refer to the workforce as a whole or even individual employee as well as their individual capacity of the work. So we have to consider the staff also. Staff may be the total workforce, or it may be the individual, or it may be the total work capacity, right? Now, next is what? The skills. So employee of the organization possesses a variety of the skill in addition to the core competency, which are also described, right? So we have to consider the skills of the employee also while we are implementing the change. For example, if some employee who are working in the bank, for example, right, they are working as a clerk, they are working as an officer in the branches, but if we have to migrate for the system upgradation, for example, system upgradation we have to do, right? So that people who are clerk and the officer and they are having technical graduation as a background, they will be more useful. So that's why the skills are important here. Okay, so these are what? The stages, McKinsey's 7S model. Okay, so very simple, you have to remember 7S, only 7S you have to remember. McKinsey's 7S model: structure, system, style, staff, skill, strategy. Okay, you have to write it in the book, because unless until you write yourself you are not able to remember it. Okay, structure. So you club at least two, right? For example, structure and strategy, right? Skills and staff, style and the systems. Okay, so these are what? These are very much related, right? What is the skills? Obviously it will be have only to the staff, so staff and skill you can combine, right? Then the style and the system you can combine, structure and strategy you can combine, and remaining only the shared value, right? So in this way you have to remember this 7 yes. Now, what are the advantages? See, this model provide a variety of the approaches, strategy for understanding and the organization and its functioning, right? It provide what? The approach and the strategy for understanding what is organization and how it is functions, right? Very simple. Next, this model integrate both emotional and the practical aspect of the change. Okay, emotional plus practical aspect is being implemented. Then this model consider all the component to be important and equally worthy. Means it does not ignore any component. It consider all are important and they all are equally worthy. Additionally, this model provide a directional factor for organizational change. Okay, that means basically it provide the direction. Okay, these are the advantages of the 7S McKinsey model. Now, what are the disadvantages then? See, the future of any one component result in the failure of entire model. For example, if staff skills fail, then it is a failure of whole model, right? So failure of any component will result into the failure of entire model. Now, that's why it is more complicated, right? This is also the more complicated. The failure experienced by many organizations that have used this model. That means that model is not that much of successful. Okay, so these are the basic advantages, disadvantages about the 7S McKinsey model, which you don't need to mug up. Okay, just understand. Now, next model we have to discuss is Kotter's change management principle. Kotter's change management principle. Now, see here. So, friends, see, the change management principle developed by Kotter is widely regarded as one of the most influential principle in the world. Okay, so it is one of the important and most influential. Okay, now see here. His theory of a change management is structured in 8 phases. Each phase concentrating in the key principle that addresses the people reaction to the change. Okay, what we learn here? We only come to know what is the Kotter change principle. It is a highly influential model, right? And it is having 8 phases. Now, what are the phases? First is what? Create the sense of urgency, create the guiding correlation, develop the vision, communication, remove the barrier, accomplish the short term win, then build on the change, then institute the change. Okay, so these one by one when we discuss, you will get better clarity. Okay, so this model is quarters change management model. It is having 8 phases. Okay, so what I suggest, you have to study this lecture into 2 parts so that you can easily able to get the detail. Okay, now the quarters change management model we are discussing, and one by one 8 phase we will discuss. First is what? The rising sense of urgency means what? We have to create a sense of urgency among the people or the employee is the focus of this step. Create what we are the urgency to need the change, that we have to create the sense of urgency among the employee. The goal is to encourage the people to act and move closer to the goal. So what is the purpose of this? Obviously people will realize that yes, we are having the urgency in the changes. Now next is what? Putting together the team. So right people on the team with their ability, knowledge and the commitment are necessary. So we have to make the team, right? Next, getting the vision right means what? It involves getting the vision right by considering the strategy, creativity, emotional connection or the goals. Means what? Our vision, whatever the vision we are having, that must be a right. How it will be? So it involves getting the vision right by how? You should have good strategy, you should have creativity, you should have emotional connection as well as the goal oriented approach, right? What is the goal? Obviously the implementing the change. Next is what? The communicating. So communication with the individual concerning the change and the necessity why it is required to be changed, that we have to communicate with each individual, right? Next is what? Getting the things off the ground. What do you mean by it? Off the ground. See, to get things moving, remove the roadblock and implement the feedback with a constructive way. Means what? What are the obstacle in the implementation of the change, that we have to remove first. For example, you have to suppose the upgrade the system. For example, system upgradation. Okay, that change you have to implement. That what is the obstacle? There should be a proper internet connectivity should be there. So that's some obstacle or some roadblocks may be there. For example, opposition from the union, right? So that roadblocks the management have to remove. That is called off the ground. Next is what? Concentrating on the goals for near term. Means what? Concentrate on the short term goal, right? Also breaking down larger goal into the sub goal. Obviously you have to implement the change, but whole change you cannot implement at a time. That's why you have to create the small goal and you have to approach for it, right? Next is what? Not giving up. No matter how the challenging circumstances, perseverance is the most important factor in the achieving the success. That is why never give up. Next is adapting the new circumstances. Means what? One of the most important thing is to reinforce and incorporate it. That is what? Implementation of the change in the culture of organization itself. Okay, that is what? Adapting to the new circumstances. Means once the implementation has been done, then we have to accept it, we have to adapt it whatever the changes, right? And we have to follow it. Okay, so these are the 8 stages of the Kotler's model. Rising sense of urgency, putting together the team, then getting vision right, communication, getting off the ground means what? Remove the roadblocks, obstacles, concentrate on the sub goals, so that is a near term goals, then never give up and adapt whatever the new circumstances, we have to accept it. Okay, so the implementation of the change in the culture of organization. Okay, so in the same way I suggest you should go sorry, I suggest you should learn the in the graphical and the diagrammatic way. So diagram, these are what? Pictorial representation that will help you to understand and help to memorize rather than text. Okay, so see, create a sense of urgency, then create the correlation. Create the correlation means what? See, second is what here? Putting team together. Correlation, create the correlation means create the team, develop the vision and the strategy, communicate the change to each individual, remove the barriers, remove the roadblocks. Means what? Getting the things off. Okay, see here, fifth is what? Getting the things off the ground, right? Next is what? sixth, see here, accomplish the short term win means you have to divide the goal into short, and you have to accomplish the short term goals, right? Then you have to build the change and institute the change. Okay, so in this way, in diagrammatic way, build the change. You should not give up, and you have to adapt the new circumstances. Okay, so these are the way through which diagrammatic representation help you. Now, what are the advantages of the Kotler's model, the Kotler's model? Okay, so this is simple to implement, and step by step fashion is given. It is step by step, right? So that's why it is easier to implement by the step by step fashion. Next is what? The focus is on embracing and preparing for the change. So that's why it is the advantage, right? Because they are giving more focus on embracing the change and how to prepare for the change. Now, what are the disadvantages then? Now see disadvantages. It need to follow a step by step approach, and there is no other step to complete the change alone. That means there is no single step to finish the changes. You have to follow step by step by step. That means it is a time taking process, right? There is a time taking, there is time consuming process. Okay, so these are the basic disadvantages of the Kotler's model. Now, next is what we have to discuss is the nudge theory. What is nudge theory? See, nudge theory is also called as the nudge. What do you mean by nudge? Nudge means simply the push, right? The concept is that application that has application in the field of behavioral science, economics, and the political theory. Now, simply forgot it. Now, see, it is developed by the Cass R. Sunstein and Richard Thaler. Okay, the essence of this principle consists of gently nudging or pushing someone, as well as encouraging and motivating them to make the change. So nudging means itself it is a pushing. So see the diagram. Through diagram you will get better clarity. Okay, once you push somebody, he will do it. You have to push, right? It is very much common in the human nature itself. If somebody say, you can pass the CAIIB, you can pass CAIIB, just push him, he will really study and pass, like that. So nudge theory means you have to push someone, right? Pushing someone for along with the pushing, you have to encourage, you have to motivate. That will result into the success. Okay, so this is what very basic thing you have to understand. Nudge theory, simply the image you have to remember and the meaning you have to remember. Okay, it is possible we remember the name who developed it, the Cass R. Sunstein and the Richard H. Thaler. Okay, if possible remember the name. Now through example you will get better clarity. See, sending people a reminder to schedule a doctor's appointment. See, you have to visit the doctor, right? But doctors are continuously sending you the reminder, the SMS, that your appointment has been scheduled on this and this. That means what? You are automatically pushed towards the doctor, right? Next, ensuring that the healthier food is more noticeable in the cafeteria. Okay, so if we place the food picture in the cafeteria which are more healthier, so obviously people will be automatically pushed towards the healthier food, right? Providing people with the information regarding how much electricity they are using, right? So if you are doing the SMS to the people on daily basis, how much you have consumed the electricity in a one day, so automatically people will get aware and they will be pushed towards saving the electricity, right? So this is what the nudge theory we have to understand, right? Now next we have to discuss is what? The ADKAR model. It is very simple, it is most simple. ADKAR model. ADKAR stands for A for awareness, D for desire, K for knowledge, A for ability, and R for reinforcement. Okay, that is simply the ADKAR model. Now see, this model concentrates on the steps, activity that directly related to the goals, right? Now see ADKAR's model, right? So these model concentrate on what? It concentrate on the steps or the activity that are related to the goals. Now see, this model is useful to identify various gaps or the gap in the process of the change. Okay, what you have to remember? The meaning of ADKAR you have to understand, right? And it is useful to find the gap in the process. Okay, so ADKAR. So remember, ADKAR is nothing but the gap. You remember gap. Okay, because that is the keyword you have to understand. That is your keyword you have to remember. Now, ADKAR model basically stands for A for awareness. That is what the basically the consciousness. regarding the requirement and the prerequisite for the change. So if you want to implement the change in the organization, what are the requirement you should have, what are the prerequisite you should have, means before implementing the change what you need, that is what the prerequisite, that is what the awareness means. What you should make aware about the people, why change is required and what are the benefit of the change, that you have to communicate with whom, the staff, the people. Next, a strong desire for the process of change. D means what? Desire. So you have to create a strong desire among the employee so that they are become ready, not only ready, they are eager to implement the change. That's why the desire. So desire for the process of change that must be created among the employee. Next is what? K for the knowledge. So how to effect this change? That means by the way of training, by the way of providing the resources. See, if the required training, you should provide. If the resources are required, then you should provide the resources to the staff or the people and the employee in the organization, so that you have to fulfill the knowledge. Then only your change will be effective, right? Now, for example, you have to upgrade the system. Then there must you provide the training to the employee, right? Capability means basically the ability. So for that, whether you are capable to it, whether you are having that ability, whether the organization have ability to sustain in the new change environment. So for that purpose, you can have the mock run, you can have the performance monitoring continuously. That is what the ability. Next, reinforcement, it is what? The reward, recognition, encouragement to the fellow in the new change, right? Once you implemented the changes in the organization, to accept that changes, to make it happen, for what you have to do, you have to give the reward and recognition to the employees in the organization, so that they will feel, yes, the new change is good. You have to encourage the new change in the organization, so that employee will ready to accept it. Okay, this is what the reinforcement. So ADCAR is awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and the reinforcement. This is the ADCAR model. Okay, now next we have to discuss the advantages of the ADCAR model. So what is the advantages? See, basically this model do identify the reason why the changes are not working, means what? The gap it is finding, right? Next, this can find the area in which transformation may not be successful, means so again the gap it can be finding. Now, it provides both business and the people oriented perspective. These are the advantages of the ADKAR model. Okay. Now, next model which we should discuss is the bridge transition model. So, see, through picture you will get everything about the model. Okay. So, bridge transition model is developed by the William Bridge. That's why the name bridge transition model. Very simple, right? William Bridge. Now, this was published in the book Managing the Transition. So, this book was released, Managing Transition. And in that book, the theory about the bridge transition model is being given. This model concentrates on the progression rather than the modification. Right. Now, what is that model? You have to understand. See, this model is having three primary steps. First is what? End. That is what? Give up or let it go. That is end of the phase. That is giving up. Second is what? Then you become a neutral. And third is what? You have to start the new beginning. Right? For example, I will tell you ending. So shocked, in denial of, fearful or sad. So what happened actually? So change you have to implement, right? So management has declared you have to accept the change, right? So there may be the end of the game, means employee will not going to resist the change, right? So this is what the ending for the employee, we should not resist, right? So ending means what? Let end it, give up and let it go, means employee will think there is a end, we should let it go whatever the management want to implement. So shocked, in the denial, and fearful and sad. So in the ending phase, the employee will be shocked, they will be in the denial, fearful and sad phase. Next is what? Neutral zone. So next is a neutral means what? How long you will be the unhappy. Then in the neutral zone, the employee will become confused, then the frustrated, right, and skeptical. Okay, so this is the neutral zone. That once you become neutral, you have to accept whatever the changes in the organization, and you have to start the new beginning. So new beginning will be excited, energized, and committed to accept the changes. Okay, so it is very easy. Nothing has to remember from this. Only you have to remember the image. Once you know the image, you can easily make it. Bridge means what? You are bridging the things. You are bridging the things. How you are bridging? Simply end it, make it neutral, and there is a new beginning. Simple, right? This is the bridge transition model. Now, next model is what? The Culver-Ross 5-stage model. So, who have given it is very interesting model. It is about the death. So, it is very much interesting. Culver-Ross 5-stage model. So, after conducting the research on death and dying, so see on what people are going to study, how death and dying. So, see, they are studying about the death, right? So, the Elizabeth Culver-Ross, okay, she came up with the idea for a 5-stage model. Elizabeth Kolber-Ross. Now, this model is also called as the grief model. Why? Because it discusses the various emotional states that people go through when they come to know, or they become aware that their time on the earth is ending. That means when you come to know, when you think that I am going to die. So, if you are having feeling that you are going to die, in what stages you are passing, right? So, that stages has been used for implementing the change in the organization. So so you have to think what level people are doing the study. Okay, they are studying. If you know you are going to die after 3 months, in what stages you are passing through, that stages are basically the user in the model. Griff model is also called the Griff model, also called as the Culver-Ross 5-stage model. Okay, so Culver-Ross Griff cycle. See here. First is what? First stage is denial. Means what? Avoidance, confusion, excitement, shock. So if you know you are going to die, so you deny. How I will die? I will not die. There is a denial phase. So you are trying to avoid it. There will be a confusion. There will be excitement of death and the shock and fear also. Next is what? Anger. Means what? You become angry. If I am going to die, I'm going to die, I will be angry. Obviously, I will show my anger on the doctor itself. The frustration, then anxiety, that will shown in the anger phase. Next is what? The bargaining. Means what? You will struggle to find the meaning, to help other, to tell your own story, that how you can, then you will what? You will do the bargaining with your doctor. Please increase my life by few months, like that. Okay, so this is what the bargaining. Here you are helping to others, and you will tell your story to other, right? Next is what? Depression. So after that you will feel helpless, and you will become a depressed. Next is what? The acceptance. Means you are now accepting that I am going to die, I have to accept is. Then you will explore the remaining opportunity, introduce the new plan, and moving forward. Okay, so these are what the cycles or the phases once you know you are going to die. The same has been used by the Elizabeth Kolber-Ross model, right? It is also called the Griff model. I think you will not forget that. The stages you have to remember, 5 stages. It is the 5 stages. The denial. First you will deny, then you will become angry, then you will bargain, you will into depression, then finally you are going to accept. Okay, see, last and first stage, this is very easy to remember. First is what? Obviously it is a denial, and lastly you are going to accept. Okay, in meanwhile you become angry, you will bargain, you will become into depression. Okay, that 5 stages you have to remember. Now one by one, see 5 stages. Now we will see how that stages related to the change management. Okay, one by one, see. Everyone is fighting the change, does not want to believe that what is taking into place. Denial means what? You will deny what is the change the management want to implement. You will fight the change, you will deny that change. Next, anger means what? Realization that the change will influence them. The initial stage of the denial transition into the anger. So initially you will become angry on the management as a employee. Why you are implementing the change? I don't like the change. You become angry. Next is what? The bargaining means what? Here the people engage into the bargaining as a means of warding of the worst case of the scenario. a neutral response to limit their exposure to excessive change. So bargaining means what? Once you come to know that management will not go back, they are finally decided to implement the change, then you will bargain. Oh, you are implementing the change, it is okay, you implement, but you should take care what I have to say. You should the cooperate, we cooperate, no problem. That means you are bargaining. At least there should be some safeguard to the employee. That is what the bargaining. Next, depression. So when someone realizes that the attempt to bargain are fruitless, and it can cause them a depression or loss of a confidence. Means what? Once you are bargaining with the management, okay, you don't implement, I we bargain, we try to beg that don't implement, still you are come to know that bargaining is fruitless, management is not into mood to listen us, then you will become into the stage of depression. Then acceptance means what? When the person realizes that being depressed or fighting, so finally the depression, you will have to accept what is the stage, right? So you have to accept the changes also. Okay, fighting is not useful, you will realize that fighting against the management is not useful, you have to accept the change. May come to the conclusion that they have no other options available to them, so giving up or trying to resist. Okay, this is what the acceptance. So these are the 5 stages, right? Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and the acceptance. Okay, so I suggest you should look into the image so that you will get a better clarity in the model. Okay, so see here, Kolber-Ross model image: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and the acceptance. Okay, that stages you have to remember. Now, further, we have to discuss the next, that is the conflict management. It is very interesting. See, everywhere there is conflict. When there is two people, they will talk, they will have the disputes. That is what the conflict, right? Now, see, in our branches also we can observe the conflicts, right? So the process of resolving the conflict through the conflict management aim to minimizing the potential negative outcome. That means if there is a conflict, there is a conflict, right, then there is chance that that will result into the negative outcome for the organization. So essential management ability intel, we should negotiate. So if you have to manage the conflict among the people, you should have the power, what? You should have the capability of negotiation, thinking creatively, and using the range of different strategy to minimize the conflict, right? Now see here some example of the skill which you should have to do the conflict management. What are that? Just understand, don't need to mug up. You should have the clear and effective communication skill. Then listening, you attentively, you should listen what the what why there is conflict, you have to understand and listen the people. Then engage into the practice of empathy, not only sympathy. Sympathy means only, oh, it is okay. Empathy means, oh, I am sorry, but I will also helpful to you. That is empathy. Problem solving capacity you should have, positive attitude you should have. Then what? Setting the priority level, you have to set the priority. You should be a patient and understand others body language. Okay, this skill you are having, then you are ready to solve the conflict among the people, right? Don't need to bug up, just the theory part. Now conflict resolution strategy, what are the strategy for the resolution of the conflict? So obviously the top 5 strategy are there, one by one we will discuss. Refrain from ignoring the conflict. First strategy itself, it says that you should refrain from ignoring the conflict. Means what? You should not ignore what is the conflict in the organization. You should not ignore the conflict. That is the first strategy itself. That means you have to take care about the conflict. So conflict should be resolved as soon as you recognize it. Next is what? Explain the nature of the issue. Means what? Mediator will discuss with both the party. So the party which are involved in the conflict, so mediator will discuss with both the parties. That means explain the nature of the issue. Organize the meeting between various parties which are involved in the conflict. So you have to arrange the meeting to resolve the conflict. So bring them together in a meeting so that they can resolve. Now identify the solution. You have to find the solution after the meeting, right? Then maintain the vigilance and follow up on the situation regarding the conflict. So you should be the vigilant about the conflict in the organization among the people. right? And if there is conflict, you have resolved, you have to take the follow-up also. Okay, so through again the graphical or the pictorial form, you have to understand what, see, if there is conflict among the people, right, then you should act as a mediator to give the support. You should respect the people. That means you have to understand the people, explain the nature of the issue, right? Next is what, you have to listen to the people. You should be the constructive, right? You should be the constructive, and you have to resolve the conflict. Okay, identify the solution. So in this way you have to manage the conflict. Okay, so these are the 5 stages you cannot ignore. You have to understand, explain the nature of the issue, organize the meeting, identify the solution, and be the vigilant and take the follow. Okay, so these are the 5 strategy you have to implement for the conflict resolution. Now, at the last, we will see some one-liner MCQ or the check your progress from the book. So, see, which of the following does not constitute a part of the process of organizing? Okay, not constitute. Basically, it is not part of organizing. Okay, establishing reporting relationship, it is a part. Determining who will be responsible for a particular activity, responsibility, it is correct. Then specializing is not a part of the organizing. Dividing and assigning what division of work, it is a part, right? But they are specializing is not a part of organizing. Next, the part of this process involve organizing the activity into the category according to the product line. So which process? Okay, basically functional structure, the divisional hierarchy, organization with official standing or an unofficial grouping, or the organization. So basically divisional hierarchy involve organizing the activity into category according to the product line. Okay, product line, according to product line you are doing the division basically, right? So that will be the part of divisional hierarchy. Next, third, it is possible to delegate the decision making power to individual at lower level. I mean, you are delegating your power or the authority at lower level. This is what this is called as assigning of responsibility. You are giving power, you are not giving responsibility. Assigning of responsibility is a part of work delegation. Centralization means what? Your concentration of the power to MD, right? Decentralization means division of the power. Okay, so you are giving power to lower level means it is a part of decentralization. Okay, next, the expression span of the management referred to, I already told you, span of management means what? The number of people under you are, number of people reporting to you, it is span of the management, right? So which option is correct? The scope of manager's duty, the responsibility of the manager, the maximum number of direct subordinate that can effectively manage by single supervisor, that is C option is most correct. Okay, now next is what, when we talk about the centralization, we mean the pressure the preservation of one's right to make the decision. Centralization means what? One only, MD will only going to take the decision, right? Only one person. So first is the correct. Extending into the new territory, division or categorization at different level, the spread of decision making power through organization. So it is wrong. Centralization means what? You have to be a centric, means the MD will be the center, he will take the decision. Okay, yeah. So these are the solutions. So friends, you have to understand what you have to do. You have to download the application Banker Zone. Link is given in the description. You can join us on the Telegram. For that, you can search in the Telegram CAIIB BZ Banker Zone. CAIIB Banker Zone, you can directly search, no problem, right? And obviously, you have to subscribe us on the YouTube. You can comment on the YouTube section so that I will come to know your feedback, right? Thank you, friends.